Ladies and gentlemen, football fans of North Central Ohio, you are now entering the Friday Night Pigskin. So get strapped in, lay some tide, and get right for big hits, top plays, and highlights. All coming your way from under the Friday night lights. The most exciting sounds and sights, gridiron action to serve your viewing delights. Let's go. Friday night lights. Get hype, it's Friday night. Friday night lights. Get hype, here we go now. Friday night lights. Get hype, it's Friday night. Friday night lights. Get hype, here we go now. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown! Throws it over the middle and he gets absolutely sauced. Friday night lights. Get hype, it's Friday night. Friday night lights. Get hype, here we go now.
Both sides are full. You could feel the electricity in the air.
We are underway, and he boots it deep. Wenger at his 7, across the 15, the 20,
Big hole,
25,
big hole.
35,
Oh my
30,
goodness!
he's gonna go.
This could be the
40,
start of the game.
30,
Unbelievable!
10,
Oh
5,
my!
touchdown,
Wow.
Northmor. Are you kidding me? There's a late
And that was just the start of the night here on the OH Report. What an exciting Week 12 it was as we welcome you inside round 2 of the playoffs here on the Pigskin. I am Brian Skoronsky, and thank you to Spherion Mid-Ohio for being our exclusive sponsor this season. We had 9 games tonight in 8 different counties, so we were all over from sea to shining sea, I meant to say, all over the place here in Ohio, and we've got a ton of highlights packed into tonight's broadcast coming your way. 3 undefeated teams in our coverage area, all still playing. Moving on to Week 13, Ashland, Northmor, and Shelby. 12-seeded Lexington won again, too, on the road. 49-29 over Rocky River. Norwayne lost a wild shootout. They put up 49 points and they come out on the losing end. Downton survives by 2 points as well. So, wow. Tons of great playoff action, and we got the moving pictures to prove it. And we will begin tonight over at NIS Stadium, Ontario, looking to move on to Week 13 for the first time ever, where no team has ever been before, but a really tough team from the SBC, Clyde, who won a state championship just a few years ago in the building tonight. We'll show you how it all played out there at Copeland Field. Looking to become a legendary team in the history of the program. 11 wins is the tops ever. They could tie that with a victory tonight, that being the Warriors. And after scoring on their opening drive, Ontario loads the box on this 4th and short. They stop the Flyers. It's a turnover on downs. Just 3 plays later, ensuing drive. Bob Penn-Miller going deep over the middle. It's Austin Pence. He picks up 40 on a 3rd and long. Later in the drive, a nice, crispy touchdown run here by Mason Van Tilburg, and a huge pancake block there by Del Morris to set the edge. It's 14-zip early in the second quarter. Take you later on in the frame. Miller looking right, and he's going to take the edge. He'll taste Pater from 5 yards out. This made it 21-0. And then after another Flyers 3 and out, this next play is going to showcase why Ohio State wants this kid playing on Saturdays in Columbus. Just making a whole bunch of Flyers look silly as he carves in between 5 of them right there, throws a stiff arm, comes near side, and he's going to pick up about 12 more yards after that. 37-yard scramble for Bob Penn-Miller. 2 plays later, he's going to find Pence again. The senior cooks all the way to the zone. 41 yards later, he's in there. His first touchdown of his senior season. Closing seconds of the second quarter, Flyers in desperate need of some points. It's 4th down, and Bob Penn-Miller comes up and makes the touchdown-saving tackle to hold him out of the zone with under 5 seconds to go. We take you now midway through the 3rd. Ontario triggers the running clock right here. A 34-yard dart from Bob Penn to John Mahon, and you can get your tickets to playoffs. Round 3, Warriors fans, 38-7. They crush Clyde tonight. This one was never in question as Ontario made a bit of history at home, and I was shocked, as many were here tonight. And I got to tell you, the vibe when I first got over to NIST Stadium and I talked to a couple of coaches for Ontario, just kind of asking overall, just like, hey, how you doing? Just trying to make some quick small talk with them, and they were pretty much just like, hey, this is a beast here tonight. We got a tough team coming in. They're trying to put the lights out on us early on in the game, and we got to come to play. We got to bring our best game. Well, I would say that Ontario definitely did that tonight. How about 423 total yards for the Warriors? And they put in freshmen at the end of the game, and they almost went down. And if it wasn't for a really nice taking knee at the end of the game, probably would have got some more points on the board. They also hold a Clyde team that's been dominating here lately to under 200 yards. Adam Young had 5 straight 100 rushing yards performances. As a team, they're held to just 91, and I'm putting up Mr. Bodpen Miller, who is must-see TV, up for your Phenom of the Week. How about 4 total touchdowns, over 350 total yards of offense for Mr. Miller. Dude was unbelievable. He was dynamic from the very beginning of the game. That's why he is up for my Phenominy for week number 12. So a really impressive performance from top to bottom for the Warriors. Got to be excited what you're seeing from them over in O-Town. So they'll punch their ticket into week 13, but on the other side of the county tonight, there was another team, the number 2 seed in Shelby, that was looking to join them for what would be an incredibly exciting regional semifinal showdown. Ottawa-Glandorf, fresh off of an upset over Galleon, a fellow MOAC team last week on the road, and they were looking for more upset action tonight over at the Whippet Athletic Complex. Graham Scott, moment of silence here. He passed away last weekend, so a warm just feeling from all of us here at the OH Report. All of our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and certainly the Shelby community. And they would find themselves down early in the game. How about Deegan Miller? 17-yard touchdown here to go up 7-zip. This is right about the 8-minute mark of the first quarter, but Shelby answers back on their ensuing drive. Dennis LaFawn, a 4-yard touchdown run. They would not get the PAT, though, so they're still down by a point. And how about the margin getting bigger with Ethan Metzger going 72 yards on the catch and run, 14-6 OG midway through the second. We take you third quarter action now. Here's DeVito to Avery Lamberg, 66 yards. He gets gone. They would go for 2 and tie it up at 14 apiece. Late in the third quarter now, Brady Bowman on the jet sweep off the toss. He's going to get ghost all the way down the sideline. Or is he? Jordan Shoemaker at the very end of the play knocks it out, but he would totally redeem himself later on in the fourth. 69-yard catch right here. He struts in to give Shelby their first lead of the night at 20-14. And then Braden DeVito drops the hammer on him. 2 minutes later, he gets gone 76 yards into the end zone, 26-14. DeVito, a flat-out monster again. No surprise. 55 total touchdowns for that kid. We've been trying to make a case for him here on the Pigskin that he needs to be up for Ohio Mr. Football. The numbers speak for themselves. How about undefeated speaks for itself? How about Shelby having to come from behind at home tonight, and they get it done? And I got to spin that play back one more time because I'm putting it up for the top play of the week, because for Shelby, the chips felt like they were down a little bit here in this game, but at home, in the biggest moments, to shut the door and tell OG, not tonight, not on my field, I'm too good, my team's moving on. 12-0, Braden DeVito with the long touchdown run, 76-yarder right there, that burst, and to have the speed to get in between those two defenders right there to really just slam the door right in the Titans' face. I thought it was super special. You'll see that coming up on the podcast on Monday. So guys, the stage is set. I'm gonna bring in Jonathan. I'm gonna bring in Travis on this conversation now. So we were talking about it. Number 3 versus number 2, the potential Ontario versus Shelby round 2. We got it, boys. What are your thoughts on this rematch of a game that was 50-36 in round 1?
Well, for Ontario, it's a chance at redemption. They did not give Bodpen Miller a chance to tie or take the lead in the first meeting because of the botched kickoff, but now they get a chance at that redemption, and it's going to be at a neutral site. But, I mean, we all knew this. We all wanted this to happen. Didn't know because we thought, maybe Clyde would be somebody that could, pull the upset. But no, Ontario had nothing to do with that, Jonathan.
Yeah, exactly. And these two teams know how to score the football, and that was the case when they met in Week 9. So it'll be interesting to see now if that's going to be the case again, if they're going to see a high-scoring game where Shelby puts up 50 on Ontario, or if the defense is going to be ready to go and they're going to be able to bounce back, and Ontario can move themselves on to the regional final.
Yeah, and it's going to be Ontario Shelby taking on. Look at Napoleon. Napoleon, the 13 seed, going to take on Perkins. Can they pull off another major upset, or will we get Perkins versus Ontario Shelby? You got to think Arlen Field for this one, Brian.
Everybody was talking about that, of course, tonight over at NIST Stadium, and that's the anticipation. That's the feeling that it's the only place that probably has a big enough seating capacity to be able to accommodate Richland County. Even though we still got Lexington playing in this thing, obviously there's going to be a lot of interest on that
absolutely.
game. And I think that they could maybe not pack it from top to bottom, but get really, really close. So if it's not there, maybe StarTech Stadium over at Madison. Those would be about the only two venues I think that are big enough to really make a good case to host that game.
I mean, you just got to think just Arlen Field, everything that goes with that. Just that's the perfect spot for this game for all the fans of Richland County, because everybody's going to show up for that one, Brian.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting to have that game for you guys next week. No really predictors just yet. I just know from what I was telling you guys tonight is that Ontario, I've seen them a couple of times this season. I got to see them last week, but I didn't really get to go kind of face to face and look at some of their athletes that they have. And down in the trenches, they got some dudes, they got some dogs, they got some real size. So obviously the lunch portions over at Ontario, they're not skimping on these kids. They've got a lot of beef down there in the front line, and I saw the pancake block, and they were opening up some huge holes. That's why they're one of the best rushing teams in all of Division 4 in the entire state. So I really think Ontario's got a great shot to come back, put a hurting on Shelby up front. But I again see this game being decided by a victor in the 40s.
It'll be a shootout.
A lot of points.
It's absolutely going to be a shootout in this one. And we were talking before, Clyde gave Perkins its toughest test of the season, 28-7 as well. So, I mean, if you get an Ontario Perkins, you got to think that's going to be a close one. But then you have Shelby that can put up the big numbers as well. I just think no matter who will make it out of this game is going to give Perkins its toughest test in the playoffs so far.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. I think it's interesting that you noted that Clyde's gave them their best test, and we saw Ontario take care of them. These two teams, it's just going to get real interesting because it always is between these two sides.
Yeah. And now let's welcome you into the KMAC corner, because we
stay
had
here a
three KMAC teams playing. And if you notice, they're not in Dayton anymore. We were here, what was it, like 25 hours ago when we called it state championship this afternoon. But, hey, we're back. We're here. We wanted to call some football. But Notre Dame, we were talking about this on the way back, playing Danville. They have an NFL player, former NFL player as the coach. They could sling the ball around. Was that going to be enough to knock off Danville? We were not. We were wrong totally on that, Jonathan, as Danville looking like the one seed that they are.
Yeah, this was advertised as a battle of clashing play styles, and you know what the Devils love to do. They love to run the darn football, so we're going to see some highlights of them running the football. So starting off this game, Notre Dame, number 8 seed, 6-5 on the year. Danville, though, they love to run the football, and it just felt like Notre Dame didn't know how to defend the run, and you're going to see this Aiden Burke run, and this is my top play. We'll see this a second time as well, but Aiden Burke goes 65 yards to the end zone. I told you, I can't not pick this guy as a top player or phenom. He does it every single week. Here he is again with another one, 23 yards. His first 3 rushes, that's all it took for him to surpass 100 yards in this game.
The kid is a beast.
Yes, and now you're going to see, you saw Boom Burke. Here is Zoom Wallace.
Boom and Zoom.
Siren Wallace, untouched to the end zone right there. He gets his first touchdown. Oh, and by the way, this is still the first quarter, by the way. They would get a 2-point conversion there, 22-0, and now an onside kick.
That's Danville football for you.
22-0. Killabukas, what are you doing, man? Last game at Tough Street Stadium, and he wanted to really rub it in, get those starters out, and not really do too much for the seniors here, get them out of the game early. nice little misdirection play here. Siren Wallace runs into hyperspeed and now gets out just enough to embarrass a couple defenders into checkered grass. Touchdown for him. Both him and Burke had 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. It was a 30-0 score at the end of one. Not going to show you every single touchdown or else we'd be here all night.
But you got to give a passing play, though.
Yeah, got to give a shout-out to Chris Mosier, his first career touchdown right there. And the final score of this one, 60-2. I did the research. NFL, that would be a scoregami. College football, that would also be a scoregami. I doubt it for high school, but still.
I mean, 60-2 in a second-round matchup. Danville just completely boat races Portsmouth, Notre Dame. Just what were they able to do defensively? We see the offensive highlights, but you and I talked. They have a quarterback that was able to sling the ball the last half of the regular season. They have, an NFL player, a former linebacker that we thought maybe, have that secondary opinion on a quarterback and things to help them out. But what was Danville able to do defensively to really shut that down?
Well, to be completely honest, I don't think Danville necessarily did much in the first quarter. It was more self-inflicted wounds by Notre Dame. Kingery was an All-Ohio wide receiver last year. He's moved to quarterback, and he came in out of the gates, overthrew a couple passes, and then underthrew a couple passes. They had a turnover on downs in their own territory. That helped Danville up the score, and then from there, they just really couldn't get anything through the passing game. And Danville's secondary, they adjusted through time, but the Blue Devils just offensively kind of overwhelmed Notre Dame, and that's really what ended up getting it done.
And we were talking about Aiden Burke earlier. He's just such a good, such a good player. But let's talk about him some more. He's your phenom nominee.
Yeah, and here's your top play as well. And this guy is just really different. 180 plus yards. Don't know the exact number, but I'm for certain he got over 180. And I think that Siren Wallace got up there as well. But Aiden Burke, he got 2 touchdowns, both in the first quarter. So that those first 12 minutes felt like an hour, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But he was just able to break through. There's your boom right there for you.
Wow.
Aiden Burke, senior, final game at Tough Street Stadium, and he goes out the right way.
That's, just a power play there, and that was your top play as well right here. Let's watch it. We got to watch it one more time because that was, and if you, folks, you got to watch back the full game because his call was just as phenomenal as well. Ken Parrott just barely beat him out for call of the night, but I mean, that just get off me right there.
Yeah, this guy is really good. I've said it so many times, but this guy is just going to keep on going. And Danville, they're the favorites to get out of the region, and he's one of those reasons why. And then also Siren Wallace coming in and starting to get involved. That adds a little bit of a dynamic. I say it every single week, but this team is ready. And Hackman last week had 4 touchdowns. He had 2 in this game against Notre Dame, so he's starting to get going at quarterback.
They're looking really good right now. Also, another team looking really good, the Northmor Golden Knights. We said we had 3 K-Mac squads still in the playoffs. Well, we have the rematch. Dubbed the K-Mac Game of the Year by yours truly. Would it actually be a game like we had in Week 4 when you called it Centerburg and Northmor at the Castle? Packed house, beautiful weather. Ken Parrott was pumped, and so was I. And let's just get to the highlights. Would this one go down to the wire like Week 4? Jack Swenger, who didn't play in that game, would have something to say about it. A hole you could drive a truck through, untouched, and he's off to the races. 93 yards, and just like that, 6-0. I can still hear Ken screaming in the background. Ensuing possession for the Trojans. 3rd down, Blaine ball scrambling, and there's a fumble. Golden Knights recover, and they are going to cash it in. Cohen Becker from 3 yards out, just like that. 12-0.
If you let Northmor go up 2 scores, it's over. I hate to break it to you.
Second quarter now. A.J. Bauer back to pass, and oh no, another pick. Wait! Wenger comes up with it. Down the sideline, gets shoved, and he stays in bounds. He's gone again. 83 yards, 18-0 Golden Knights. They're up 25-0 at the break. Second half, Trojans on the move, and watch this fine catch by Trevin Harris. That's going to set up ball here in a couple plays to Miles Marshall. Watch a shoestring catch. He's going to run it in from 10 yards. 25-7, a little life for Centerburg. But Northmor with the nail in the coffin in the 4th. Bauer goes deep to that guy named Big Play Bo. Landon makes the catch, fights off Harris, gets himself into the end zone. Northmor is heading back to the regional semifinal. 39-7 is your final.
Pretty good. Yeah, Northmor with the good
Pretty
win.
good.
Yeah. But anyway, Northmor, we we talked to them after that Centerburg game, and they said that there were a couple things that they could have controlled to make that result a little bit different than what it was, and they did that here today. Bo Landon with some big plays. Jax Wenger, who didn't play in that game. From the get-go, the kickoff, literally makes his stamp on the game and just tells the Centerburg team that I'm here, it's going to be completely different, and that's exactly what it was.
It seemed like things went the way of Centerburg in that first game. Everything went the way of the Golden Knights tonight. You saw looked like was going to be another pick six that got Centerburg back in the game, but no, got tipped and then right into the hands of Jax Wenger, who didn't play in that first game. And speaking of Jax Wenger, he is my fee nominee. You want to know why? You saw the 93-yard kickoff return touchdown, but also he had 6 catches, 150 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The tip drill touchdown catch. He also had one in the back, 2 actually catches in the back corner. There were beautiful throws by Bauer. But Jax Wenger is a fee nominee. He was ready for this one, just chomping at the bit just because he was unable to do it, to play against Centerburg in week 4. And just look at that, tiptoeing down the sideline and then off to the races. He was ready. Cam Goldbach was as well with my MVP, but Jax Wenger, fee nominee. And now he also, just like Aiden Burke, he's also a top play nominee because it could have been multiple. Yeah. It could have been the kickoff return touchdown, could have been a couple of his catches in the end zone, but there is only one top play, and this is it once again. It's just the good old tip drill. That should have been a pick 6. That should have been 12-7, but no, Jax Wenger,
Gotta show it thrice.
80
gotta match the jersey number.
3 yards. 93-yard kickoff return touchdown, 83-yard touchdown reception off the tip drill. And with the presence of mind here, multiple defenders could have gotten him in this shove here. He stays in bounds, and he is gone. Jax Wenger's just taken off since he's come back from the appendectomy, and Northmor firing on all cylinders.
How about a 5th time?
Anyway, I could watch that over and over, but Northmor, look, they're sitting pretty right now in Division 6, Region 23, as we'll take a look at the brackets here coming up momentarily, but the Golden Knights, big win. They will go on and face Ridgewood. I'm guessing somewhere, we were talking about maybe a Mount Vernon, Clear Fork, maybe Hillsdale, somewhere around that, but it's not going to be much of a drive for them. And then on the other side, Fort Fry is going to be taking on Grandview Heights, who just held off Colonel Crawford. We'll have the highlights of that coming up. But the Golden Knights, they're looking like they're not the number 1 seed, but they're looking like the top team in this region.
Yeah, for sure. And also got to give a shout out, respectfully, it's a K-Mac corner. Got to give a shout out to the Centerburg Trojans. Good season from them. Fantastic. And also shout out to Trevin Harris. His career ended tonight.
He made some great catches in that one. But Centerburg, a team we thought coming into the season, we didn't know what they would be. They end up 8 wins, 3rd in the K-Mac, and they get a playoff victory. And they have Miles Marshall coming back, a great running back. They also have most of the line coming back, Blaine Ball coming back. So this is a team, they might be one of the favorites coming into next year.
And then also Danville. I didn't look at their playoff situation simply because we don't know their opponent yet. The winner of their that game is tomorrow, so we'll find out about their result a little bit later.
All right, and a little bit later, after this commercial break, we will have the Week 11 top play and phenom of the week. But we'll take a break and be back right here on the Friday Night Pigskin, brought to you by Sphere on Mid-Ohio.
More than Crown. We are real people behind Crown of Dublin. Our service team is full of experts dedicated to providing your vehicle with care.
Using only premium parts and equipment, schedule an appointment with Crown CDJR today. The better way to service.
Welcome to Richland County's first artificial intelligence ATM. And if you car dance to the song you're listening to now, I will give you $50. That's something an ATM can never do.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Oh, we're serious.
Gosh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. We hope your day is a little bit better today.
Yes, thank you.
Instead of paying for some big-name spokesperson, Kasasa Checking gives that money back to you in cash rewards. In fact, just bought me this cup of coffee. See how that works? Amazing! free checking, cash rewards. Take back banking with Kasasa.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the Mid-Ohio job market, and we're locally owned. So you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion.
This is a shakedown. Order up that beat just like a takeout. Show me you got soul inside those new shoes, and you can rock and roll with an attitude. So good, so fresh, just the way you like it. Just the way you like it. You're the new MC, you got the remix. Keep it on repeat, just let the beat kick. Everywhere you go, you bring the roof down. Everybody knows you got your own sound. So good, so fresh, just the way you like it. Just the way you like it. Show me you got soul. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh. Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown.
Opening round of the playoffs is always a very exciting time. It's kind of like the prelude to the Christmas season and putting spooky season behind us. And we had a ton of great top play nominees up for you, the fans out there, to decide what was the absolute best that we captured with our cameras in week number 11. And this is what you guys came up with. How about Mr. Big Play Bo Landon, two-tapping, getting both of those feet in the back of the end zone. Nice pass, too, by A.J. Bauer, 26-yard connection as Northmor wins big in their first-round playoff action. One more look at the catch from Big Play Bo. And get your brooms out if you're a fan of the Northmor Golden Knights, because not only did they win the top play, but A.J. Bauer, he's back, baby. He wants that phenom, and he earned it. How about just one incompletion? Ridiculous. He only got to play one half of football. That's how good this kid played. Threw for 3 touchdowns, almost 200 yards. He was nearly perfect again. That's kind of just been his MO all season long. Another look again at that awesome throw to Mr. Bo Landon. That is your top play and your phenom from week number 11. Now let's get back to present times here tonight. And Carey, baby, the Blue Devils, a big upset last week as the number 12 squad on the road at Notre. Could they do it again tonight? Going out to Patrick Henry and a team that's got a big prospect in their quarterback. We'll show you how it played out tonight there at Patrick Henry High School. This is in the first quarter, and this is the kid I was talking about, Lincoln Krieger. This kid's a monster, and you see why right there. 9-yard touchdown run would put them up a score early on in this contest. Later on in the game, he's going to get in again, this time from 8 yards out as he darts into the corner of the zone. And guess what? Oh no, Krieger's not done in this first half. This bomb's going to go to Reed Jackson. He will do the rest. Look at this slick move. Whoop! Turns on the brakes, chugs into the end zone. 21-0 at the half. The Blue Devils just never got anything going offensively on this night on the road. You're going to see a sack coming up here as the Devils go down tonight. Their season behind them. 24-0 the final count as you see the final seconds fade away off the clock out there. We do want to applaud Carey for another great season. They finished the year strong. They got off to a slow start, as I recall, and then every time they get into the N10 calendar, they always kind of turn it on. So yeah, a 1-4 start this year for Carey, and then all of a sudden they start finding their bearings. They win 5 out of their next 6, including that upset against the Notre Rams last week, but just running into a buzzsaw tonight in Patrick Henry, who's really starting to play well. 5 consecutive wins for them, and they've only allowed 14 points during that stretch. So this is a team that might be amongst one of the favorites to try to emerge out of that Division 6 Region 22. Josh Banks, you've covered a lot of Northern 10 football here over the last several years, and Carey, they've been the class act so far, obviously, and for them, at least getting to the second round of the playoffs, again, I think it's another feather in the cap of Coach Merschman and that program out there, just proving that they're always a force to be reckoned with. Didn't go their way tonight, but we look forward to seeing them in the playoffs, and then they kind of consistently impress.
Yeah, I think it's what we say about all the N10 schools almost every year that are dominant, the Mohawks, the Colonel Crawfords, the Careys. They don't rebuild, they reload, and Carey's got a young class that dominated through middle school, and they're freshmen and sophomores now. So Carey's going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. As I seen earlier, an article go out of the N10 wanting to expand here in the next couple years. Who's going to join, and can somebody kind of play with Carey to make it more interesting?
Yeah, they're looking to expand the conference maybe by 4 teams, or they're looking for some suitors to come out there. So if you think that you can compete with the big boys like the Careys and the Mohawks, certainly get your name in the hat. I can think of a couple of local teams that might just be interested, but one of them already gets to go toe-to-toe with Carey every single year. Doesn't normally go well for them in that head-to-head, but this team, they've had a lot of production in the postseason, Josh Banks. That, of course, being the Colonel Crawford Eagles, but a tough test tonight. They had to go on the road into the city against the number 1 seed.
You play number 1 seed as a 9 seed, and you kind of expect it to be maybe a little more lopsided than it was. Let's take a look at the picture and see what happened. Early on, Crawford takes a 3-0 lead with 6.5 to go on a Joseph Zizzo 20-yard field goal right down the middle. Kid's a great kicker for them, and that's not all you're going to see out of him tonight. But what you're going to see right here is Henry Olinger. The kid's a 4-star athlete, a Division I recruit, and this is probably why. It's next level speed. It's the stiff arm that just puts him to the ground, and this young man is a special athlete, and there's a reason that he's getting the offers that he's getting to go play at the next level. Again, third quarter action, you're going to see another Zizzo field goal. Makes it 13-6 from 20 again. But here at the end, clips are going to get mixed up. Olinger is going to run another one in. This is his second touchdown of the night. This actually makes it 13-3. Or that's pick 6, sorry. Wow, my clips got all.
Where are we, Josh?
We are 10 minutes to go in the second half, and here comes Olinger's second touchdown from 10 yards. Makes it 13-3. The final's 13-6. There was less than 250 yards of total offense in this game. The defenses came out to play. Crawford was down a couple of their star players, and they still hung with the now 12-0 Grandview Heights Bobcats. Grandview Heights is on course for a clash with one of our KMAC teams if they can win next week, and it would be real interesting to see what these other teams can stop Henry Olinger.
Yeah, looking at Grandview Heights and what they've been able to do so far this season, a really stout defensive team from really start to finish, holding most of their opponents to one score or less, Josh. So on par again for them here tonight against a banged-up Colonel Crawford team. But you really liked what you saw from the Eagles. Gutsy, pretty resilient, and it looked like they were in it, even though maybe we kind of had to, jump from one quarter to the next. But down to the final gun, they were hanging around, and at least they made it a very competitive game where they had a chance to maybe still win at the end.
They definitely had plenty of opportunities to win this game. They had the ball inside the 5-yard line twice. There you seen at the end, they kick a field goal to make it 13-6. At the end of the first half, they were unable to put any points on the board from the 2-yard line. So you've seen the resiliency of their offense, but you've seen also the resiliency on the other side of things. What I enjoyed tonight watching Colonel Crawford play was their passing attack. They ran the ball, I'd say, maybe a total of maybe 10 to 15 times tonight, not characteristic of Colonel Crawford that we're used to seeing. They threw for well over 150 yards, and they ran for maybe 100 yards, if they were lucky. They had a 95-yard touchdown pass to Dom Dean called back for a hold that would have gave them the lead in the second quarter. Mistakes were kind of hurtful tonight for the Eagles, but they're young. Their 2 running backs will both be back next year.
Yeah.
And both of their quarterbacks will be back.
Yeah, the McMonster, just a little bit banged up. He didn't get an opportunity to really showcase himself tonight, limited in action. But as you mentioned, Colonel Crawford, there are very few seniors on this team. There's some pretty dynamic playmakers and some veterans and some guys that are certainly some leaders over in that clubhouse. But you look at what Coach Bruner's been able to do. I mean, he's getting a little bit of a dynasty going with a program that was not known for football before what Coach Tegg did before him. And now all of a sudden perennial into the playoffs and getting not just into the postseason, but into the second and sometimes the third layer. So I think that the future looks like it's very bright for this team, and maybe the favorites in the N10 next year.
Their youth that they have, I think Carey's going to be right there again. They're young as well. But I think Crawford has to potentially be the favorite coming into next season. Their athletes are back. Their running backs are back. They bring back most of their offensive line. They lose a couple key pieces on defense. But again, their JV squad, I think, had 1 or 2 losses this year. Their freshman squad went undefeated. Those freshmen are some grown men out there playing football as 14-year-old kids.
Well, you mentioned grown men, and this night, of course, about Grandview Heights. They're undefeated. They're moving on. Let's see more of Henry Olinger. You're putting this kid up for a phenomenon plus a top play award for this week, and the numbers speak for themselves, but just a nasty runner. He kind of looks like a Derrick Henry out there, the way that he runs kind of straight up and down, but he's just got that physical presence to him.
Yeah, this young man's listed at 6 foot, 215 pounds, and he is every bit of that. I spoke with him a little bit after the game, and just the most calm young man you'll ever meet, very composed, getting lots of opportunity. And you see tonight, coming into tonight, he had 110 carries for right around 1,300 yards and 23 touchdowns. So he's averaging over 10 yards a carry on the season, and he almost does it again here tonight.
Yeah, that's not very Derrick Henry-like. He needs to kind of get those totes up a little bit, but even despite that, it sounds like he's making a big visit tomorrow. Maybe the Buckeyes are on him too.
Yeah, he's visited Ohio State twice. Heard a little bit over the PA announcement tonight. He is going to Penn State tomorrow for a visit. And the young man already has 4 D1 offers from Boston College, East Carolina, Kent State, and Miami, Ohio. So he's another guy from this region that we covered tonight that's D1 athlete.
Yeah, looks like a pretty special player, and who knows, it could be on a collision course, like you said, with one of our area teams. We'll find out. Another one of them was in action tonight over at Marshfield, Monroeville. Last time they played there, went pretty good for them in Week 11. You saw the heartbreak in Week number 10. Could they get it done against Warren JFK tonight at home? We've got the highlights for you coming up right now. Eagle Country, that's a tough place to go and try to win. Amazing that St. Paul was able to do in the fashion they did. But the Eagles getting on the board first. Connor Bowes down to the 1, and then Evan Benfer punches it in. It's 6-0. 9 minutes remaining here in quarter number 1. Now, Freddie Bolchak to LaMarcus Provitt. 9-yard touchdown catch would give them the lead by 1. This is midway through quarter number 2. Benford, though, this dude is a one-man wrecking crew, and he's going to wreck through the defense right here. 42 yards, whoop, a little spin move, 2 midway through. He takes it all the way in for the score. Eagles back out in front, but Jalen Murray's getting loose, going the other way. He makes a house call 66 yards later, and he would do it again, this time a little bit closer, only 4 yards. That would make it 20-13. This is with 9 minutes ago in the third. After a Monroeville fumble, Bolchak puts JFK up 28-13 right there. But the Eagles' Colton Clark finds Derek Ackerman on the 27-yarder. Look at that adjustment. Plus able to get into the corner. 28-19, but that's where the scoring would end. Warren JFK comes all the way over from the east side of the state, and they knock off number 4 Monroeville at their place, a team that you saw just a couple of weeks ago. And unfortunately, on that awesome touchdown run, I'm told that Benford suffered a broken collarbone. He was done for the rest of the night. Without him, it's a much different looking team, and they were on top when he was still in the game, so a huge difference maker. What a loss that is to lose your star quarterback in a playoff game at home, and you end up losing.
To lose what might be the best player on your team at home in a game that you were probably favored in makes it tough. But how about the young man that stepped up and threw the touchdown pass to Ackerman in Benford's absence? Getting a lot of talent over there in Monroeville that's young. Tough loss tonight, but they'll rebuild. They'll be ready for next year.
So Monroeville, another quality season for them, as I believe they got into double-digit wins, 10, and got a home playoff game, a couple of them. So the Eagles, they've got a pretty nice program going right there. Just tough when you lose your quarterback, of course, midway through the game. But for Warren JFK, this is a team that seems to be bumping into our local guys year after year. The Lucas Cubs, they had that nice little rivalry going where they met a couple of times for some regional championship games. So it just seems to kind of be like one of our local team killers. We saw Danville a couple of years ago and what happened to them as they scored late. So man, they just got to have our number here in North Central Ohio. We got to find a team that can step up and knock off these Eagles.
Every team that runs into them from our area goes down to them. It's going to be interesting to see how far they're able to go. Kind of a lower seed this year. What's going to happen the rest of the way for them?
That's a good point. Well, maybe somewhere on the other end of the horizon, they could run into a team that's going to be featured in our next highlight. The number 2 seed in Division 7, Region 25, the Hillsdale Falcons, and they were taking on, Windham tonight? Travis Barty has got your highlights, and the Falcons doing some Falcon-like stuff once again.
Yeah, they were soaring once again in Falcon country. Hillsdale now the highest rated team in the region because Western Reserve fell down, the second highest team. Warren JFK, we may see another matchup for a regional championship if things hold strong. But was Hillsdale able to take care of business? Let's find out with those moving highlights. We're going to start off with a Windham punt, and this thing's going to be down at the 1 yard. I mean, look at this. Pat McAfee's smiling somewhere because that's beautiful. But why am I showing you this, Jonathan? You want to know why? Because there's a better highlight out of it. Cale Lewis to Hayden McFadden, my MVP from last week. Ain't no one going to catch him. 99 yards. 7-0 Falcons. Staying in the first quarter, they got a running attack too, Jonathan. Owen Sloan from 3 yards out. You can book that. It is 14-zip. Staying in the first quarter, we got another highlight from Mr. Hayden McFadden. He was the MVP on the night. Lewis looking for him down the middle, wide. You can't leave him that wide open. 35-yard touchdown catch, 21-zip. Move to the second quarter now, and you got to see the Hillsdale defense. Kyle Turk just going to undercut that, make the pick, and he is off to the races here. Gets knocked down at the 40. That's going to set up another Cale Lewis touchdown pass. He is going to find Holland Young for 15 yards on the run. What a catch. 29-0 the score. And we're still in the second quarter because now we got a fake punt. Dylan McCune, he's going to take off to the left side. He's going to try and get down there and get the first down. Windham in business here. But once again, Kyle Turk is going to end the threat, his second pick of the day, and that's going to set up Hayden McFadden, his second 90-plus yard touchdown reception. This one 98, 99 and 90. Have you ever seen that in a game from a receiver? He finished with 250 yards and 3 touchdowns, but we're not even done with this highlight because we got some more defense coming up here momentarily as Jesse Trevathan is going to get in on the action. Quarterback rolling out, and he threw it to the wrong guy. Trevathan right there. That's how it would be for that second half. Into the second half, as Owen Sloan starts things off, 43-0 with his touchdown run. But on the ensuing kick, yes, Windham fans, we do have a highlight for you. Carlos Bruton, he's going to take the little squib, get the reverse, and he is off. Down the sideline, gets a block, and he's going to beat the kicker to the house, 43-6. But they weren't done as Bruton, a 51-yard little shovel pass into the end zone, 43-14 the score. But the Hillsdale Falcons behind the phenomenal night by Hayden McFadden, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 99 and a 98-yard touchdown reception in the same game.
Yeah, this team, Hillsdale, is really good at big plays, and we've seen that. Yards after the catch, especially with all of these guys. Yep, they love to eat the yak. So, and Hayden McFadden's the biggest guy for that, of 98, 99 yards. You also got Holland Young getting some touchdowns in there. Brock Bauer, take away the S from the Raiders tight end. But those 3 weapons, great. Kel Lewis, even greater, getting those opportunities for his
wonderful
receivers.
Night by him.
And also Sloan with the 2 touchdowns. Yeah,
so just a very balanced attack offensively, but then defensively they get 3 interceptions as well. A perfect full team game played by the Falcons tonight. They will get on the road now because, well, you're in the 3rd round, so you have to go on the road. They will take on Malvern. Yeah, the third seeded Malvern will find a place to be determined on Sunday. Now, we see in the scorebook over here past his head that the Ashland Arrows are winners tonight. Would we get that dream matchup 1 versus 4 with Big Walnut? You have the highlights of them versus Perry.
Yeah, this is what we've been looking forward to see if this would even be a possibility. And Big Walnut, they took on Perry, Massillon Perry, earlier on tonight, and Big Walnut hosts their final home game of the season. Let's look at those clips. Taking on Massillon Perry, that's a team in the Federal League.
Yes.
And you know what that means. They're pretty darn good at kicking the football because that's a pretty old league. And we got those clips ready?
Let's roll them.
Let's roll them. There's a field goal. There's your field goal, 43 yards. Right up the middle, and that will get the scoring started. Perry up 3-0, but Big Walnut would respond, and they say, "Oh, that's cute. We'll take 4 more, please." 37 yards to the house. There's Nolan Burley with the score.
He's been great this year.
Moving to the second quarter, and now we're going to see Big Walnut with a 50-yard run. There's Burley again breaking through and just getting past the secondary for his second touchdown of the day. Now we're in the second quarter, and Big Walnut trying to get something going in the red zone, and disaster. And Massillon Perry will take that all the way back. A pick 6 for Landon Ristoff to make it 14-10. Big Walnut holds on to the lead for the moment. They're back on offense. Here's a throw from Jackson Bowers to Aiden West. And there's your touchdown to give yourself a 2-score lead. Later on, they'd make it 28-10 with that rush up the middle, just with a 1-yard rushing touchdown, and they would continue to rack it on, making it now 35-10. Big lead for them. Perry would start to slim it back a little bit. Connor Shepard would score there with the 10-yard rushing touchdown, make it 35-17. And then Austin Maddox with a 14-yard rush to make it look a little bit better than it really was in this one. Final score, 35-24. Big Walnut secures the win, and now they'll get to take on my Ashland Arrows.
His Ashland Arrows. Got to think maybe Brian Highland. That's a good midway place. They have a big stadium. You something like that for that regional semifinal.
Yeah, I think it needs to be a little bit bigger for that Division II. I really like Highland as a venue, but it's going to be interesting to see. I think we got a couple games coming up that obviously you got to want to host first. That's the problem that the OHSA runs into sometimes
like
is that
Harding?
we'll have these ideas of where we want them to be, but
Harding maybe.
you got to throw your name in the hat.
Yeah. Week 12 in the books, Brian. We've got a lot of teams remaining, though.
Yeah, we're on track probably to have another 6-7 live streams next week. I think we only lost like a couple of teams tonight, so pretty much everybody getting healthy again.
I'm not going to try and make the list.
Carey,
really
Monroeville. Colonel Crawford.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, bro.
Really good week.
And we got 2 matchups. Shelby, Ontario.
Yeah.
Big Walnut, Ashland.
Yep.
Oh, Centerburg lost it. We had Centerburg.
Yeah, Centerburg lost, yes.
So we have a couple teams. So we know we will get at least 2 teams into the regional championship round. Now, with the way Danville, Northmor, and Hillsdale are playing, we're going to be busy for a couple more weeks here, Brian.
That's what we look forward to this time of year, of course. Because the playoffs don't really. I mean, we got a few upsets, and you got to applaud teams like Lexington, who's a 12 seed. That they're still playing right now. But things really start heating up right now in week number 12. Then they get really interesting, of course, moving forward next week into week 13, and then when you start getting into those regional championships. So. Looks like we're trying to have a
but it's
Jory since Jardy is unavailable.
It's a Jory
here tonight.
party.
So yeah, man, we're gonna have a full list of games coming up here in week 13, and looking forward to see who can march on to regional championships. And do we get a state champion out of our area this year? We haven't had one since 2021 with those Carey Blue Devils. So. Who's got the best shot to do it, Travis?
I don't know, but you want to know matchups for next week?
Do I?
Yeah. Let's do it. Hit me with the clock, Adam.
No timer.
No timer. It's not going to be that much. But Big Walnut, Ashland, we already have that. The winner will probably get Massillon, Washington in the regional final.
Yeah.
We're always thinking about that. Lexington will get Toledo Central Catholic, the top seed in D3 Region 10. D4 14, Perkins versus Napoleon, Shelby, Ontario. Seneca East Falls to Hope Olano is another team that we lost, so nothing in D6 Region 22. Region 23, it's going to be Northmor versus Ridgewood. D7 Region 25, we got Hillsdale taking on Malvern. Calvert has to play tomorrow. If they win, they would take on Lipsick. Mohawk will take on number 1 Columbus Grove. Danville will be getting the winner of Corning Miller and Steubenville Catholic Central. And finally Actually, that is finally. That's it. That's it. So there we go.
That's it.
Cut us off.
And that's it for the Pigskin for this year, right, Brian?
Yeah, well, we're not going to be back, guys. We've had enough. It's late.
See you guys.
We love hanging out with you every single week here on the Friday Night Pigskin. It's been an awesome season.
Yep.
I think my favorite that we've had so far. Tons of crazy plays. We've had some exceptional teams, and hopefully they can keep marching on. I think Danville's got the best shot out of any of our teams, actually, to get to a state Final Four. Do they have what it takes to win a state championship? Remains to be seen, but that would be my pick of who we would get to see marching on.
Well, we did see, and I put it in the scoreboard since Andy wasn't here, but Marion Local beat Tri-Village 56-14.
But they give up 14 points.
They give up 14 points, but they still got that streak going.
60-2.
60, yes. Good grief.
60-2.
D7. I think my argument should be I'm cool with 16 teams. If we have to keep 16 teams, D7 has to be 12. It's just different, I feel like.
I mean, we had a 13-12 matchup where West Holmes beat 12th-seeded East Liverpool.
Yeah.
So we do have.
That's not D7 though.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's a 1-8 matchup ending 60-2.
Yeah.
All right, we're done. We're done. We're done, Brian.
Yeah.
Get us out of here.
Show's over, folks. Thank you so much for another fantastic season here on the Friday Night Pigskin. Couldn't do it without our good friends over at Spherion Mid-Ohio. So thank you so much, Beth, and the entire team over there for always supporting us. We really appreciate you, and we will see you again next Friday. A lot of live streams coming up. Just no show afterwards. So long, for real. We're good.
on next. I'ma keep it going.